Alrighty, so what is up guys, and welcome back to another video on Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly ask for you guys' thoughts, because you guys are in the MMA community, right? So today we're going to be watching a video of Alexander Volkanovski talking about who is the better grappler, Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev, ahead of their rematch, their second fight at UFC 294. So before we get into watching this video, I just want to kind of give you my thoughts on what I'm expecting. I'm expecting him to talk about the effectiveness of Islam Makhachev's grappling versus the effectiveness of Charles Oliveira's. I want to see if he goes into who's the better pure grappler or not, and what he says about that, but also whose grappling is better for MMA, because that's where they're going to be fighting. So this is very interesting. There's a lot of mixed opinions. A lot of people think Charles Oliveira is a better grappler. A lot of people think Islam Makhachev is a better grappler, right? He submitted him in their fight, even though it came off of a knockdown first and stuff like that. So this is just an interesting topic. I'm going to be reacting to this, giving you guys my thoughts. I'm not going to try and make this video too long, but I do want to share my thoughts and give you guys my opinion. So thank you guys for stopping by this video today. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave your comments down below as well. Share your thoughts with me, because that's why I do this. And also don't forget to subscribe for more daily MMA content and in-depth fight analysis. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video.
What's happening, guys? I want to break down the grappling aspect of this fight with Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. Some people are going to disagree with this in the fact that, I'm going to say who I believe is a better grappler and who's going to be more successful on the ground. Obviously, you can look at that fight and say, Islam is, because he obviously submitted him. But then a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but that's just a fight. Caught him on the feet, got it down. Look at what Charles has done. Look at the finishes he's done. Look at, they both got a lot of finishes, but Charles got the most finishes in the UFC. So a lot of people are probably going to say Charles' jiu-jitsu is better. BJJ, jiu-jitsu, okay. Grappling though, we're talking grappling. Who's going to be more effective in this MMA world?
I think it's also important to state that grappling is not just what happens on the ground, right? It's not just the jiu-jitsu. It's also the wrestling, the judo, the in-between game, the clinch game. All of that is considered in grappling. So let's go. And also another reason I'm interested to hear his thoughts is because Volkanovski's fought good grapplers like Brian Ortega and Islam Makhachev, so I feel like he could give us a little bit more insight than we're used to.
I believe it's going to be Islam. Islam, again, he's all about breaking down positions, mechanically breaking you down. Keys and principles, being in the right position while you're building up, taking away the things that you're trying to do to build yourself up, just constantly being a step ahead. That's why it's going to be hard to just throw submissions to guys like these, because they are always trying to systematically break you down, get you out of position. As soon as you try and get to a certain position, he's stopping that. He's breaking you down. He's grabbing a post. You're trying to turn this way. He's going to pull you back the other way. Little things like this, constantly being ahead of the game. I feel like this is things that I do myself really well, and it can really nullify people's jiu-jitsu. And not just that, make it very hard to be submitted, because you understand the mechanics, the principles, the keys, much better than the moves themselves. So when you are in a bit of a predicament, say, Ortega guillotine, you're going to stay composed, you're going to at least have some sort of direction, or you're going to at least try and do things. You're going to try and, all right, this is tight, I need to try and make this untight. How can I do this? Push on the hip. Need to free my legs, do certain things to free my legs, push an arm here, there's certain things that I can do to take that pressure, take that weight off. And that's just one little move that I just sort of broke that down. You can do this in every move. And when you understand that, when you focus on that in your grappling, which guys like, Islam, Khabib, these Dagestani guys, they're all about breaking people down and making, again, you want to build up, and they're going to make things hard. You will need to, get to a knee. They're going to take that away from you. They're going to shove that leg so you can't get to the knee. There's just little things like that they're going to always try and make things so hard for you to build up.
So what he's kind of talking about here is the idea of being ahead of your opponent, or position before submission, right? If you train jiu-jitsu or you train wrestling and things like this, any kind of grappling, right, they always talk about having your position and keeping your position over the submission, right? So if you're on top, stay on top rather than trying to risk yourself or your top position going for a submission and risking your opponent escaping the position, right? So with that being said, when he's talking about that, I can understand why he chooses Islam, because Islam Makhachev, this is why some of his fights may be considered boring, or this is why his ground pace is so slow, while Charles Oliveira is going from attack to attack to attack, chaining different positions, chaining different submissions together and reacting off of your actions. Islam Makhachev is trying to force you to give him certain reactions, and if you're trying to get up to your feet, instead he might just keep his weight on top of you, fatiguing your muscles and making it harder for you to build yourself back up, like Volkanovski kept saying, right? So the idea of what he's trying to say is that they're ahead of their opponents, they're causing certain reactions, a good grappler, right? And they're not sacrificing their position for the submission, in which Charles Oliveira does sometimes sacrifice his position for a submission, but generally you only really see this when Charles Oliveira is on his back. You don't see it too much when he's on top. If Islam Makhachev was on his back, how much position would he be, or how many submissions would he really be attacking, right? Charles Oliveira, though, he likes being on his back, which might be why his grappling, or why Volkanovski is saying his grappling is not as good as Islam's. However, let me know your thoughts on that, and let's keep watching.
And when people are like Charles, who you give him space, very effective. He'll catch you like that. But what I'm trying to say with Islam, finding that space is very hard. Islam is very good at closing the space, not giving you any room to move. As soon as you do something, already shutting it down. So really taking away the opportunities. So, for Charles to catch him, I think he needs to, really focus on that takedown defense, getting back to the feet, and then getting Islam out of position on his way building up. Off your back, I think Islam's been there a million times. He's been there too many times to just be able to turn your hips one way, chuck a leg over and do this and that. I think that's going to be very, very hard to do.
Okay, so I think Volkanovski's missing something here. He said you can't just chuck up attacks from your guard, right, against Islam Makhachev. Yes, this is true. This is absolutely true. His base is too good. But is that really what Charles Oliveira does? I mean, if you really do a deep dive jiu-jitsu study on what Charles Oliveira is doing, is that what he's doing? Is he just chucking up submissions? To some, it might seem like that, but going back to what Volkanovski said about Islam Makhachev not giving anybody space. So if he doesn't give them space, and Charles can only operate in space, in their first fight, how was Charles Oliveira able to get back to his feet? Well, when you analyze it, the only time Islam Makhachev was being offensive was when Charles's guard was nullified with his back or his head against the cage, right? If their head's against the cage, they're not going to be able to throw up many attacks, or if they do, it's not going to be any good quality attacks, right? So you saw Islam smothering him every time he got to the cage, bringing him to the cage, and then he was able to land strikes and stuff like that. But when it was in the open floor, I think this is something that I broke down in my Oliveira versus Makhachev 2 breakdown. If you guys want to go check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. But this is something I broke down, that when they were in the open floor, Charles Oliveira was actually winning those exchanges. He was not only throwing up attacks, and the attacks were getting defended nonetheless, right? But it forced Islam to give him space. It forced him, when he threw up a triangle, to start posturing up in his guard and relieve some of that space. And then if Islam was going to go to the attacks, like how Dariush was attacking Charles Oliveira, what did Charles do? He went and attacked the base, or went and attacked the legs, forcing Islam to stand up, forcing Islam then to back away, and then Charles followed him up and entered into the clinch, and that's where it went from there. But if we're talking about success on the ground, that's success. Think about the art of jiu-jitsu is to defend yourself. It's self-defense, while sambo is more of an attacking art. Japanese jiu-jitsu is more of an attacking art. So talking about grappling, he really nullified most of Islam Makhachev's offense from his guard, which is a defensive position, was able to attack the legs, affect the base, and force Islam to stand up and get up out of there, and then followed him back up to the feet. Now, another thing that Volkanovski mentioned was getting Islam out of position to attack, and that is spot on. That is on point for what Charles Oliveira needs to do. Not only on the feet does he need to get him out of position, maybe get him coming forward, because that's when Islam leaves himself open, but also like Volkanovski said, trying to get back to his feet is a must, is a key, because when someone is trying to hold you down for dear life, right, they tend to overcommit, or they tend to overcompensate. This leaves them out of position. This leaves their limbs extended or their neck extended for a guillotine or arm bar, or it leaves things out of position to where their base isn't all intact. They're not in that natural neutral position to where it's hard to really throw up any attacks. Instead, they're overcommitting somewhere, which leaves them open. And this is what Charles was able to do by going from attacking the triangles and the arm bars to attacking the legs. He made Islam uncomfortable, and therefore Islam kind of went out of that. But let's go ahead and continue.
Or someone like Islam. So, who I think's a better MMA grappler? I'm going to point to Islam. Jiu-Jitsu. We'll go to Charles. So, this is going to be pretty controversial. Even if they did a Jiu-Jitsu match, who do I think will win? I'd still say Islam. So that's sort of contradicted me saying that I think he's got better jiu-jitsu. I think he's got cleaner, crisper sort of submissions and jiu-jitsu moves, but when it comes to actual grappling and control and dictating where it all goes, I got Islam all day. So that's why I think it's going to be a hard fight for Charles. I think Charles needs to do a better job of getting back to his feet, pouring the pressure on that way, which could lead to openings like submissions while he's building himself back up.
Okay, so really quick before I let this video finish, I gotta comment on that. And so Volkanovski says that Islam is a better MMA grappler, understandable, and that he actually might even be better in the pure art of grappling just because of the control and because of the way he shuts people down, right? And dictates where things take place. Well, if you think about it, in the Islam versus Charles fight, it was about 50-50 for who was dictating where the fight took place. Charles Oliveira, he pulled guard multiple times, and the fight took place in the guard. Then when he started attacking the legs, Islam then stood up, and we get back to the striking, to where Oliveira, did he want to be there, or did he want to be on his back? Because then we saw him get back into the clinch and end up back on his back, and from his back, you know he likes to attack, right? If we go into the Beneil Dariush fight, we see that again, Oliveira wants to be on his back, so he's dictating these exchanges, these grappling exchanges, to be on his back, while he's not wrestling someone offensively to stay on top or get on top, like we saw him do with Tony Ferguson. Instead, he's bringing people into his guard in the bottom, like he did to Beneil Dariush, attacking them from there and then following them up to the feet to continue that pressure of attacks, whether it's attacks from the submission or attacks from the strikes as well. So in his own way, he does dictate the grappling. He does dictate what positions he's in and what positions are occurring and taking place. So I don't agree with Volkanovski on that, but let's go ahead and continue to hear what he has to say to finish up this video.
As Islam's trying to catch him again, maybe leaving his neck vulnerable, then getting him sort of out of position there, because on the bottom you're not going to get him out of position. And then on the feet is where Charles obviously needs to get Islam for his best bet of winning that fight. So that is my sort of breakdown on who I think is a better grappler, MMA grappler, or even jiu-jitsu practitioner. Nah, I'll say Charles a better jiu-jitsu practitioner, better grappler is Islam. That is my take of that. Let me know your thoughts. Some of you are going to disagree. Some of you are going to say, Charles obviously has got some beautiful things there. So let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagree with me. Let me know why you disagree, and tell me some of the best things, the best details to not only prove me wrong or prove me right.
Alright, so now stemming off of that and stemming off of kind of where he finished off and left off, I think that Charles Oliveira is maybe the better grappler on the ground, while Islam Makhachev is better in the in-between game, right? For MMA, I might say that Islam's grappling is more effective due to his takedown defense, not willing to be on his back, his judo background. He's very effective in the clinch. He's been able to get every opponent of his to the ground if he wishes to do so, while Charles Oliveira has not been able to get every opponent of his to the ground if he's willing to do so. We've seen his takedowns get stuffed. We've seen him have trouble in the clinch, even though he does have good wrestling and is willing to be on the bottom and will attack you from more positions than Islam Makhachev will. I would give the variety of the attacks and the danger to Charles Oliveira, while giving the wrestling, judo, and maybe the pressure of Islam Makhachev the advantage. So guys, that's my take. In grappling, like I said before, there's the in-between game, and then there's the game on the ground. The game on the ground, I think Charles Oliveira has the advantage. The game in the in-between, I think Islam Makhachev has the advantage. However, the in-between game oftentimes does dictate how the ground game ends up, as we see in a lot of pure grappling matches and in MMA itself. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are on that. Who do y'all think is the better grappler in total? Who do y'all think is the better grappler just talking about pure grappling as well? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for tuning in to Nwadei MMA. If you want more videos like this one, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified when more videos like this one pop up in the future. With that being said, y'all stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Peace.